Hey friends, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we're heading into a Happy New Year. It is your friend and host, Lisa Mason Ziegler, and this is Ask a Flower Farmer. And if you've never joined us for Ask a Flower Farmer before, this is how it works. For the next 30 minutes or so, I will do my best to answer some of your questions. You can put your questions down. If you look at the bottom of your screen, there's a bubble with the question mark in it. That's where you post your questions so I don't miss them amongst all the names. And so, funny story, always, right? So this morning I did a podcast with Andrew Mefford of Growing for Market. I was on the farm, was at 10 from 10 to 12, about the new book and yada, yada, yada. All right. So then I went in, had lunch with Tucker, and I thought, well, I'm going to go up to the office. You know, the office is closed this week. I mean, the biggest sale of the year is going on right now, and it'll be like nuts here from here to like April, from now to April. So the team is off, you know, they're at home with their families. So I'm moseying up here, and I come to a stoplight, and I think, you know what, aren't I supposed to be doing something? Lo and behold, Ask a Flower Farmer is in 13 minutes. Yowza. Anyway, so I'm glad I made it. So I hope everybody had a wonderful time with their family and doing a little unplugging. And believe it or not, I am unplugged even though people don't think that I'm unplugged. Because you know what, friends? I love all of this about my business. I love, first off, I love being here alone. Not that I don't like it when people are here, but it lets me focus and really think and get a lot of work done. I'm doing a lot of my end of the year paperwork stuff, just getting it off my plate. And I've made a lot of videos, and y'all, have you seen the video I just posted? The deer raided my cool flower garden last night. I knew it was coming, and I'm laughing because, friends, I did nothing to deter it. So how can I be angry? Anyway, they'll regrow. They pinched it for me. You have to watch the video. Anyway, I am going to literally be doing my cool flower seed shopping as soon as I get off here, because Tuesday, Bobo's back at the farm, and we jump straight into the cool flower seed starting for very early spring planting, which for me is about mid-February. The beds are ready and made and waiting. Anyway, I've got to get all my stock and straw flowers, and as I peruse these racks, do you know how scary it is for me to be here by myself going through the seed racks? My sister actually, if y'all can see, they have those black boxes stacked up over there. That's what they pick seed orders with. I mean, from here on out, people don't buy 4 packs of seeds or 10. They buy 40 packs of seeds. And that's what I'm getting ready to do. So I'm super excited about that. And so if you have questions about flower farming, cut flowers in general, conditioning, seed starting, cool flowers, even farm dogs. Our farm dog is pretty pouty right about now. I need to go to the store when I leave here, so I didn't bring him with me. Usually he's always with me. But anyway, so post your questions. I see we're getting some down there. So back to the biggest news right now is we have a store-wide inventory blowout sale going on right now, y'all. It does not include courses, gift certificates, or books. There might be something else, but it's 30% off, y'all. If you've been waiting to buy hose, swift blockers, soil blockers, any tool, and then, of course, seeds. Now is the time to actually get them. And these are seeds packed for next year, y'all. They are not, the 2023 seeds have been removed from that. And this works, the sale is in the app and on the website, although there are things on one that's not on the other. For instance, you can't get swift blockers on the app, but you can't get... there's things on the app, like some of the flower arranging accessories that we don't have on our big store. And anyway, so I encourage you, it's now or never. It ends New Year's Eve, 12/31 at midnight. However, or when we run out of stock. So, and we've already sold out of a couple things. So, y'all get busy on that. All right, so let's see what kind of questions you guys have for me. And I don't know if you can tell, but I'm sitting down. Usually I'm always standing up. What is the best way to get connected to sell flowers to wholesalers? Ashley asks. Well, Ashley, that's a really great question. Selling to wholesalers is different. Every market is different. But I want to caution you that until you are because this is what we're seeing, and actually this is what I just talked to Andrew about at Growing for Market. If you're confident that you are harvesting at the correct stage and you are really doing the professional rundown on your harvesting and packaging, I would not go to a wholesaler until that happens, because they're going to just look at you and say another backyard grower if you're not. And that's what we're kind of overrun with right now. So I would say the best way to connect is to walk in there when you have samples of your product, top quality, with your list and your pricing expectations, and get a meeting. And you can leave your samples and know that you probably won't get to meet with the buyer. You would need to make an appointment to do that, but until they see your samples, they might not be willing to even talk to you. So that's what I would think of. That's something we talked about this morning, just in general, that there's a lot of different ways to go about business, who to sell to, and a lot of different flowers to grow, but there is some consistent issues. We have to be able to grow great quality flowers and harvest them and have our business in a row so that we are professionals. We lose a lot of potential good customers by going in there cold calling and not really being prepared, and that just says to them, oh, they really don't know what they're doing. Why in the world would I pay them the going price when it's, you know what I mean? It just opens up a lot of question marks. So I caution people from doing that. How hard to prune roses? I am saddened to say that I do not grow roses. So I do remember this, that rose people say on Valentine's Day is where, for our area, when you cut them back to like 12 or 14 inches or something. But beyond that, I do not know anything about roses. My wonderful husband gifted me with some Bio 360 for Christmas. Are there any cool flowers that really don't need to be planted in it? Well, it's not so much if they don't need to be planted in. I mean, Bio 360 is the biodegradable film, which, by the way, y'all, is in the sale while they have it, if it's still in stock. And it's a mulch film. It's a weed preventer. And so any transplanted plant, that would benefit, right? So it doesn't really help or hinder any particular family of flowers. However, for very early spring planting of cool flowers, we're planting into the black side up because it's still cool outside, right? So good for you, and what a good man to buy you things like that'll be so beneficial to your flower garden. We love Bio 360. You can find that over at thegardenersworkshop.com, and I do believe that's on the app also. So you'll have to check those out. So let's see. So you can go either way, but my rule of thumb is any transplant gets planted into Bio 360 whenever possible. I'm in zone 6B. Will my bells of Ireland germinate if I plant them under frost cloth right now? So it seems like you're figuring out that we prefer to direct sow them. We just have much better germination, and we plant them in the fall. The problem with planting anything outdoors direct sown 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost date is there's no warmth. Think about fall conditions. Warm days and cool nights. That's what gets them to break dormancy and sprout. The warm days, and then a cool night, and then a warm day, and then a cool night. We're not having those warm days, and even putting a row cover down is really not going to encourage that. Surely you can try it, but I would not do a lot. You know what I mean? I'd do a 5-foot piece of bed or something and see if that works. But you can surely try it. But 6B, you better believe I'd be fall planting Bells of Ireland, even though it says they aren't winter hardy except to zone 7 with row cover protection. I think it's definitely worth an experiment for you to actually do that. What zone are you in? So I am in, I used to be 7B/8A, literally lived on the line. Well, now they've pushed me to 8B. And so it's a wonderful place to be because I can fall plant pretty much every fall, every cool season hardy annual. Some I don't do for other reasons, but they all will survive winter on my farm. Let's see what this is. I live in Western Maryland, Zone 7A. Can I direct sow Bells of Ireland in early spring? I have Bio 360 on my beds, and they're ready for planting. So, two things. One, I just addressed about anything that you try to direct sow at this time of the year. So, what our goal is for the cool flower concept to work, means for the cool season hardy annual to get in the ground and get established before it's going to have to start growing up stems and foliage and all that kind of stuff, right? Well, if you plant seeds into cool to cold conditions 6 to 8 weeks before your last spring frost, they're just going to sit there and wait for those types of conditions, which are likely to not happen until it's almost your last frost date. And then you've lost that window of sprouting, growing, getting established before it has to grow. Do you see what I mean? So you can try it, but just like I told the other person, I would just experiment. Now, we do not direct sow into Bio 360 as a general rule. That could help perhaps a little bit. I'd put 2 or 3 seeds in a hole and see what happens. You never know till you try it, but what you quickly figure out sometimes is that it's way more work to do that than it would have been to direct sow them and just run a hoe through them very quickly a few times. So give that a whirl. And the only time we experimented, gosh, this was probably 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. Middle of summer, crazy. We were in high production, so it meant we were like women running around with our hair on fire. I mean, it was just nuts, and we did not get, I'm all about succession planting, and we did not get enough zinnias started for like our second or third succession. And so we had some beds made with Bio 360. So I said, Grace worked for us then. I said, take these zinnia seeds and go out there and make holes like you were planting plants and put 2 seeds in each one. Let's see what happens. Well, let me tell you what happened. Those seeds germinated. But during that germination window, guess what else germinated? Were all the weed seeds around that seed. And it's pretty fascinating how many of those there are. So then those zinnias had to be whole weeded 2 to 3 times to keep them from being engulfed by weeds in that little teeny hole. So that doesn't happen when you plant a transplant. You plant a transplant, it gets up and growing much, much quicker before the weed seeds do. So, you can try it, but just be aware of that issue. What is your biggest piece of advice for a new flower farmer in Zone 7A, New Jersey? Slow and steady. Something else, Andrew and I had a really great talk this morning for his podcast, Growing for Market. Actually, at the beginning of my new book, the Cut Flower Handbook, it says that size of your garden has a direct impact on how successful you are. Because let me tell you what I've seen after it'll be 26 years, y'all, next year. 25 years of flower farming. Because I know that it happened to me, but because I'm so crazy driven, I actually jumped back in and started again. When you go too fast and grow too many different things and grow too much of it, then you get overwhelmed and overtaken by weeds. And what Andrew and I were speaking to is that flower farmers in general, so you have to understand that I was a business person before I was a flower farmer. So I have always been, first seat in my mind has been find more customers, until the day we stopped selling 2 years ago when we switched to not selling our flowers to do what I'm doing now. I was looking for new customers all the time, constantly, because you have to have those constant flowers. Most people focus so much on the flowers, then all of a sudden one day you got 20 buckets of flowers and nowhere to sell them, or you only sell a little bit, or it's a bad week and the few customers you have got to have backup for your backup for your backup. And that's one of the things that we just hit home in flower farming school. It's like you have to constantly we were talking about new ways to sell flowers this morning. It's like I'm still not out of ideas, and I've been in it for 25 years. There are so many opportunities, but I think people get all caught up in the growing. The growing and the flowers are less than 25% of a flower farming business, y'all. If you want to go the long haul and still be here in 2 years or 3 years or 5 years. So start slow and find customers endlessly, and then build your business around what fits your lifestyle. And I could go on, but I won't. If I may ask another question. I have 3 beds surrounding our main vegetable garden. Good job. They're good for each other. Do you think this would suffice for our first year growing, following your succession planting and seed starting method I've heard in the podcast? They give me life, by the way. Oh, thanks. So 3 4x20 beds is a great place for jumping off. I don't know where you're planning on selling or what you're doing, but you have to start somewhere. And then once you start growing, you'll immediately know, oh my gosh, I have enough flowers, or oh my gosh, I don't have enough flowers. Andrew and I were talking about, I told him that I was the opposite of what most other people are. I never had enough flowers. I always had more customers than I have flowers. So if that's the case for you, if you live in a city like I do, that'll be the challenge. Then it's like, oh my gosh, I got to squeeze more flowers out of this small space. But I think that's a great jumping off point, and you'll soon figure that out. And then, I don't know where you are, but it's a long growing season. You can always plant more. And you better tell, I don't know if it's your vegetable garden or your partner's, but you better tell them to watch out, because your flowers may move in and take over. That's what happened at my house. All right. Can I sow poppy seeds in 6B now with row cover? Same thing as with Bells of Ireland. They're all cool seeds and hardy annuals. However, to get germinated, they need some warmth. Whether a row cover will do that for you, especially in 6B, sounds cold to me, but you never know till you try it. What you may find out is that they'll ultimately germinate, but they'll just be super slow. And then you miss that window of being established when they go to perform. You'll know if they're not established very well, they'll be short, maybe not have as many stems. But all of you that are asking me about these late sowings, when you get off this live, you need to write whatever your calendar system is. We use the big jumbo calendar, but put on your calendar next whenever. Whatever the proper date for you to plant, write it on there. It's because time gets away from us, friends. You have to, if you want to become a professional cut flower grower, you have to tighten up your loose threads. That's what I learned so long ago. I mean, we are so structured now, and that is the secret to our success. So mark your calendars and give it a try. That's what I say. You never know till you try. But don't be surprised if it doesn't work out like you think. Ashley, are there any flowers you recommend for someone starting out? I would love to grow peonies, but I've read you should cut blooms the first few years to let roots establish. So peonies are a great crop for cut flower growers. However, until you're in it and know that you're going to stay in it, so my recommendation is this, is to launch and start your business growing annuals, warm season and cool season. Low investment, potential high return while you're learning how to actually farm. There's a huge learning curve between farming and gardening. I cannot even begin to tell you all the differences. Gardeners spend all day doing a bunch of dadgum jobs that you don't need to do as flower farmers. I know this because I did it. I about burnt myself out doing that stuff until I finally got in the right training and learned what flower farming really requires. Don't even think about peonies because first off, it's an investment, right? Everybody would love to have peonies, and they're even in their landscape, but you need to grow annuals. My new book is all about those families. There's a few of them in Vegetables Love Flowers, which is my book on the method of gardening that I follow, the style of how I don't use pesticides, and it covers starting a small cutting garden and succession planting, and that'll get you started. But I don't recommend jumping on peonies until you know you're staying in, and then just like Dave Dowling says, every summer you order 25 more peonies or 50 more or 100 more, whatever your size is. But first you have to be sure this is really for you, and growing for 1 year, a full season year of cool and warm season annuals, and trying to sell and selling your flowers, then you'll know. Because I just see the learning curve is real. During flower farming school, my course is the basic. I talk about taking your gardener glasses off and putting your flower farming glasses on. Y'all, I just can't even tell you all the differences. But I see people doing it all day long on social media, of people that are proposing to sell flowers. I want to if I had an extra 24 hours every day, I would DM and say, why are you even wasting your time doing that? That is not necessary. That does not affect your bottom line. You can be an avid gardener and do anything you want, but if you want to start a business, there are certain things you have to do, and you aren't born knowing these things. That's why you have to constantly be getting educated. Y'all, I take courses all the time on business and different things like that. You don't ever reach the point of no return, right? So you have to get educated, and that's what I would start with, is annuals. Vegetables Love Flowers will kick you off, and then Cut Flower Handbook, my new book, which is available for pre-order, by the way, right now. And pre-order customers get the Cool Flower Zone Guide immediately. It's an immediate download by the zone of what you can plant in which season. Then when the book ships in February, you also get the flowers that didn't make the book. Y'all, there's not endless room in a book, is what you learn. So there's 6 flowers that I wanted to include, but I couldn't. So we'll include that same information. It's a download that you'll get when the book ships. And of course, I would love to sign a copy for you. So that'll hold you over till that book comes out. Does the Cool Flowers book include a succession plan? Excited to start growing flowers this year. So, yes and no. It's not called succession planting, because the only succession planting primarily that I do with Cool Flowers is those flowers that are winter hardy in my zone, I fall plant. Then anything you fall plant, you can plant again in very early spring, and by virtue of that, it extends your bloom some. There is a handful of Cool Flowers that I succession plant beyond that. The book, the Cut Flower Handbook, does go into that. Let me tell you that, because we talked about that this morning too. The book Cool Flowers is just about the cool flower concept, helping people see how it works, some of the things that you can do, and features 30 of those flowers. Right? So it really kind of grounds you in the cool flower concept. Vegetables Love Flowers is not about vegetables, y'all. It's about why vegetables benefit from flowers. That is really a 3-season cutting garden book. But it's about the style of gardening that I do, how I don't use pesticides. It's got a little plan in there for shows succession planting. I think it has 10 warm and 10 cool flowers, but it talks about harvesting and conditioning, but it's not a deep dive. It's more about that 30,000 foot view, right? The Cut Flower Handbook is about growing the flowers. Each flower that's featured, and I think there's 66, goes deep. How you start it, when you harvest it, the problems I had, the varieties that I like, why you might not want to grow it, and you might want to buy plugs, that kind of information. So Cool Flowers is definitely a book that you need to read. And then it also, if you actually just put here in the comment, you can comment. when you comment certain keywords that I have set up, it DMs you. First off, if you comment cool, COOL, it is I'm going to DM you a bunch of resources. It'll have the book where you can buy it, the seeds where it lists all the cool flower seeds, a webinar you can request, a planting guide you can request, lots of great resources. If you want to shop the 30% off store-wide sale on my website, you can just comment shop and I'll DM you the direct link to that. If you need to get the phone app where you want to shop over there at our phone app store, it's app, APP. So you can comment cool, COOL, just for cool flower stuff, or you can comment shop, or you can comment app, or you can do them all individually, and I'll send you 3 different DMs. It's all automated, y'all. So the Cool Flower book is not irrelevant because of the Cut Flower Handbook. All right. So this will be probably my last question. What size acreage do you recommend starting with? 100% an eighth of an acre or less. Totally depends on your level of experience. I mean, if you're a new gardener, you know, I was pretty much a novice gardener when I started flower farming. I mean, I just married a guy that came with all this farming and gardening stuff and got thrown to the wolves, right? But an eighth of an acre produces a lot. You know, my first 10 years of flower farming, I only grew 2 quarter-acre gardens, and they were actually a little bit smaller than that. And I was getting 4,000 to 6,000 stems of flowers a week. Y'all, you have to get experience and build your skills. You can also comment here basics, and I'll DM you the link to my online course, Flower Farming School, where many of these questions that we're talking about, this is exactly the kind of stuff that we talk about. It is helping you find your way and getting set up. And, you know, it's the stuff that we want to go straight to the flowers, right? And y'all, I'm telling you, that is just a way to crash and burn. So an eighth of an acre is for the experienced gardener that maybe's been having a big vegetable garden or a big flower garden, and now you're gonna just change and want to start your own business. So I think that is a pretty good indicator. All right, so here's another question. We still have 3 more minutes. Is there a link on the page to your course and the books? So when you get to my website, you'll see right at the top, you'll say, the book is right at the top of every page. There's a yellow banner. It says pre-order Lisa's book. And then on the home page of our website, there says online courses. But if you are interested in my course, you can just enter basics right here in a comment, and I will DM you the link straight to my course page, and at the top of that page will have my book. Y'all, over on our website, you will go in and never come out. There are so many resources. Of course, then there's the Field and Garden podcast also that you can find on your app, podcast app everywhere. So you can comment basics for the course, and that'll take you, I'll DM you the link to the course page. Is Veronica a cool flower? Veronica is pretty much a perennial. And we used to grow it years and years ago, but I don't grow perennials pretty much now. So that's a cute little flower. Is it okay to lay row cover directly on my cool flowers? I thought I saw a picture in your book. Don't have hoops yet. So, you can, if it's floating row cover, floating being the key word, that's lightweight row cover, which is made to lay directly on plants. However, whether you have hoops or not, you always take row cover off, just take it off the bed, push it to the side whenever any type of frozen precipitation is actually expected. So you can use it. I prefer to use hoops for long-term use, like through winter. It creates a better environment underneath there. And hoops are 30% off, y'all. I'm just saying, this is the time of the sale. This is the biggest sale of the year. We have a couple other sales throughout the year, but it's never 30%. While stock holds out. And so it's like blowout inventory stuff, y'all. It has to do with taxes. This is why retailers have inventory end of the year sales, to get rid of inventory. And so anyway, but hoops are in it. 30% off, y'all. Deepest discount of the year. So you can use it as long as it's lightweight and you're not leaving it on too awful long. All right, this is it. What's this? Going into my second year of growing cut flowers, and I just want to say thank you for sharing your knowledge and wisdom. I've learned so much from you. Aw, thanks. All right, y'all. When I see you next time, it'll be next year. And we have a lot of great things planned for next year. My new book comes out in February. Please go over and pre-order. That helps us know how many books, additional books. We've already sold out of the first pre-order. How many books to order. It just helps so much. And you know that you get 2 free downloads when you pre-order. One when you place the pre-order, the Cool Flower Zone Guide. Then another one will come when the book is shipped. And of course, I'm going to sign every single one of those books because I just appreciate y'all so very, very much. And y'all, I'm going to go in my office now and push paper. And I'm going into 2024 ahead of the wave. This has never happened before. So, all right, friends, until we meet again, remember, you can comment shop to get the link to my store, or don't do it all in the same comment, though. I'm not sure how that would work. You can comment app, APP, and I'll send you the link to download the app to look at that. Our next live show will be the first Friday in 2024, and I can't wait for that to happen because we'll be deep in seed starting. And then you can comment basics if you want to go to my course page. And, I'd love to see you on the inside of Flower Farming School. All right, friends, until we meet again, ciao.